Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we're going to tell you about USA Network's negative reaction to NXT going pre-taped.
Another title match has been added to SummerSlam.
Max Caster apparently has tried to sell his AEW ring gear.
And will WWE react to CM Punk's impending AEW arrival? I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Okay, we're going to kick things off by talking USA Network's reaction to the news we covered yesterday about NXT, at least temporarily, maybe permanently. It's kind of up in the air at the moment, going back to a pre-taped schedule after SummerSlam. We've since learned that WWE are going to tape 3 episodes of NXT, and then there'll be a live show on the 14th of September apparently, but after that, who the heck knows. But anyway, Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men Pro Wrestling Podcast has spoken to somebody at USA Network who has said the following: a taped show is not what we paid for. Now, of course, NXT has been on USA Network since September 2019. It debuted a few weeks before AEW Dynamite, but it was announced after AEW Dynamite. Is counter-programming. Come on, you can't even argue that at this stage. So it's been live on that channel for a while now, coming up on 2 years next month. It has obviously switched nights from Wednesday to Tuesday, but the dollar amount that USA Network are paying for that content isn't known. Like, the exact figures never come out, but it's believed to be below the $44 million a year that AEW gets from TNT. So, something around $20 million a year has been speculated, and if you're paying that amount of money for a live show, you probably want a live show. But I think the pre-tape thing is interesting to see how it pans out, but it does mean that spoilers will be everywhere. Whether or not that affects the ratings is another matter entirely.
I think USA are completely justified, to be honest, with this one. Like you say, the occasional tapings, the stuff where they move around and the Olympics and what have you, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, we've seen in the past when they tape these shows, like you say, it's impossible to avoid the spoilers, and that ultimately affects the ratings and the amount of people that tune in. I think the bigger issue here, to be honest, is get the hell out of the CWC. My God, it looks dreadful in there. But maybe for the next few weeks, it's just going to have to happen. Like you're saying, they'll return live in next month. But I do hope that this pressures NXT into remaining live, because it's a better show when it's live, to be honest. They need, obviously, to perk things up a bit around there. And maybe this is allowing them, if they tape a whole bunch, to sort of reorganize things behind the scenes and get ahead of themselves a little bit. But yeah, it's not the show they paid for. I think they're completely in the right here, Andy.
Yeah, I totally agree, 100%. I think, generally speaking, it's not as much fun when you know the result going in, is it? And, in the business we're in, we have to look at spoilers. It's the job. But yeah, I echo your point on the Capitol Wrestling Center as well. Get the hell out of that dingy hole. I don't like it. Thank you.
Exactly. Right, let's look ahead to SummerSlam. It goes down this Saturday night. We are, of course, going to be doing a live stream reactions to it on Saturday night. Very much looking forward to that. And another title match was added to the card following last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. RK Bro finally reunited. Randy Orton and Riddle got back together, and they will challenge AJ Styles and Omos for those Raw tag team titles on Saturday night. It joins an absolutely stacked card, obviously, for SummerSlam. You've got the headline match, Roman Reigns versus John Cena for the Universal Championship, Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg for the WWE Championship. There's the triple threat for the Raw Women's Championship with Nikki ASH defending against Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. On the SmackDown side of things was the SmackDown Women's Championship, a WrestleMania rematch, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. Cannot wait for that. Got the Usos defending the SmackDown tag titles against the Mysterios. We've got the US title being defended by Sheamus against Damian Priest. And you've also got the small matters of Drew McIntyre murdering Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins versus Edge. Andy Murray, is this going to be the best SummerSlam ever?
Probably not, but it does look quite a good show. WWE is a better pay-per-view company than a TV company, I think. I think that's kind of hard to argue with, really, when you look at the quality of Raw in particular. But the pay-per-views, no matter what the build is, usually deliver. I will say that Eva Marie versus Alexa Bliss.
Oh yeah.
Not sure about the quality of that one, to be honest, but there's plenty of good stuff across the board. Cena versus Reigns, Belair versus Banks, of course.
Yeah.
Everything else. I mean, Bobby Lashley's going to beat Goldberg in 2 minutes. It's going to be absolutely fine. I'm sure it'll be a good show. I'm looking forward to watching it. It's on a Saturday night, which means that we can actually sleep for a day afterwards as well. So
yes,
that's good.
Exactly. I dread to think how long that show's going to go, like you say, with all those matches on it. I also love the fact that Eva Marie versus Alexa Bliss was at the bottom of my notes, which just cut off, which was probably, was it serendipitous or whatever it was? Because I was like, oh yeah, there's that as well. No, I wouldn't have asked the question about being the best SummerSlam ever had I read that.
Yeah, you know what? Just put it on the pre-show. Get it the hell out of here. No one
please God.
Needs winking dolls and whatever else is going to happen there. Max Caster. Let's talk Max Caster. He has been a busy bee recently. Of course, we reported last week via Fightful Select that his AEW appearances are currently on ice. It was then revealed in the Wrestling Observer newsletter later that week that he's gone to sensitivity training. You know why. The rap that was on Dark with all the jokes and stuff. He's doing some weird things. So yesterday, he listed his ring gear on eBay. He has since taken this listing down. It's no longer for sale, apparently. But for the price of $500, you could buy Max Caster's white and gold ring gear. He had the following description with it. This set of ring gear has been worn on AEW Dynamite. I've worn this in matches with Chris Jericho, MJF, the Young Bucks, John Moxley, SCU, and more. Need some extra dollars this month, and I don't think I'll be needing this stuff anymore. Get it off my hands. So he's done all kinds of trolling stuff since all of this happened. Removed AEW and the Acclaim from his social media bios. If you look at his Twitter likes, it's just like generic WWE clips, like Randy Orton does a punch. It's like, it's not even big stuff. It's just really mundane things. He's just going through and liking stuff. One of two things is at play here. Number one, he's trolling and just, messing around, trying to get people to think he's leaving. Or number two, he's being a bit petulant. I think he's just screwing around. But I think this is a troll job. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I think Max Caster knows the game that he's playing here. Like you say, it's something that AEW has had to deal with, and everyone knows about it at the same time, like you say, Andy. So leaning into that and just typing in WWE in Twitter and liking the first 5 GIFs that you see or something, and then doing all the stuff about social media bios, when you think about like what the Young Bucks do, and they've just done Luchasaurus Dirty very recently on there, it's all part of a big game for me. But I really like Max Caster. I think he's an incredibly talented wrestler. And that rap aside, I think he's got a lot to offer for AEW. So hopefully he can come back very soon. And yeah, I think this is just playing the old social media game, which many wrestlers have to do nowadays. And speaking of social media, let's switch over to our good friends over at WrestleVotes, who've provided a bit of an update as to whether WWE will, do some sort of reactionary move to the impending arrival of CM Punk. It is widely believed that CM Punk will, of course, show up on Rampage this Friday night. And WrestleVotes have a source that states not to expect a reactionary move by WWE if, more like when, CM Punk shows up on AEW Rampage Friday night, 24 hours, of course, prior to WWE's second biggest show of the year. They conclude that tweet with "Time will tell," which, it certainly will. It's going to be a hell of a week, this, Andy.
Yeah, there's going to be so much to cover as the week progresses, particularly on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely surprised by this, just with the philosophical shift in particular since Nick Khan came in and said, hey, why are you doing all this competitive stuff? Like, that's holding our bottom line back. Stop doing that. Let's just make as much money as possible. But aside from that, I don't really see what WWE could have up their sleeve to react to this with. I mean, unless Dwayne Johnson's going to come back as a weekly TV performer, it's going to be very difficult to kind of outdo the return of CM Punk. So in terms of buzz, not necessarily in terms of viewership or anything like that. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm just ready for a roller coaster couple of weeks, really. I'm sure there's going to be lots going on over the coming weeks.
I'm a man who loves a bit of pettiness, as you know, Andy. And wasn't there a time when AEW was first getting off the ground where they tried to sort of say like, Total Divas is all elite on there? So I'm hoping that they basically just reframe Cena versus Reigns as, who's the best wrestler in the world? That's the first time that's ever been said, basically. But Oh, honestly, I've had a week off from all this, and I am excited to just get right back into it. Oh, it's going to be a wild 7 days, like you say.
Yeah.
My word, strap in, everybody. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Mark Brightman, who says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Even if it was in a squash match, what indie wrestler would you want to see appear in an open challenge match on AEW or WWE? For me, Miro versus Grado for the TNT title," says Mark.
Oh, man. There's a lot of them, but the thing with AEW in particular is that they're using a lot of the really good indie wrestlers out there, guys like Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta and people like that already. And it would feel like a bit of a cop-out to go, hey, Buddy Murphy versus someone, wouldn't it? And also, Nick Gage has been on TV, and I love Nick Gage, so that's another one ruled out. But I'd say, I don't know, someone like AJ Gray, I think, would have a really fun, hard-hitting match with Miro. I want everyone to face Miro at the moment, but yeah, I think AJ would have a great match where they would beat the crap out of each other, and it would be fun.
Yeah, you can obviously take your pick out of many of the WWE releases to pop up on AEW, for example. I think we're both going to probably lean towards AEW for this sort of pick as well, because WWE would just be like, what's Jeff Towel Man doing here? I'm just looking at things in my bedroom now. So I would prefer... It doesn't really count, I've realised, because he said indie wrestler, and I'm going to pick someone who works for a promotion, but I've got to pick WCPW Defiant Wrestling legend, Joe Hendry, because I just love him. And I think, actually, he'd give Miro a bit of a run for his money.
Big beefy boy, for sure. He's got the muscle to go toe-to-toe with Miro. See it happen.
Honestly, watch out for him over the next few years. Obviously doing great stuff over in Ring of Honor and what have you. So best of luck to him. Although maybe don't step in the mirror just yet, Joe, because he's killing people. Right, second question today comes from J-Man, who says, "Greetings, legends. Quick question. After the train smash that was the Undertaker versus Goldberg, do you think Goldberg will actually go for a jackhammer onto Lashley at SummerSlam?"
Yeah, this could be an absolute disaster, couldn't it? Man, this match is so weird. I'm kind of into these 2-minute things, because you get in, you get your spots, and you get out. It's usually okay. But I think attempted jackhammers are unless it's Lashley doing it, Goldberg trying that on that massive unit of a boy might not go so well. So yeah.
It's very simple booking Goldberg. Comes in, spear, gozzers on the ring. And then with Lashley, because he's insanely athletic, I'd just have him go for a huge spear and Lashley to like leapfrog him and then just finish him off. But Andy, I'm getting more and more giddy because me and Hamlet have been booking this for about a year. I've been booking this since WrestleMania 35 in terms of violence towards the Mysterios. But I think we could not only get Dominic Mysterio turning on his own dad at SummerSlam, but also Goldberg's son getting murked by Lashley as well. Double bubble on Saturday night, baby! I'm an absolute sadist. Right, final question today comes from Eddie Zamhari, who says, there are a lot of video packages to hype something in wrestling, but what is your favourite video package of all time?
Oh, man. Given the era I grew up in and everything else, I think it's impossible for me not to pick My Way for WrestleMania 17, Limp Bizkit. Like, it's a song that so perfectly encapsulates that era. WrestleMania 17 is like one of the best wrestling shows of all time, maybe the best WWE show of all time in particular. It's classic, it's timeless. Fred Durst is on the comeback trail now as well, so why the hell not? That's my pick.
It's certainly revamped, that image we'll go with. He looks like someone out of the Beastie Boys Sabotage video. Yeah, you have to kind of go with My Way. I was going to give a quick nod to the Placebo Michaels Taker build to 26. Yeah, it was the second one, wasn't it? Because it was his whole career thing on the line, blah, blah, blah. Or, actually, that video package where it was, I think it was Michelle McCool versus Layla, and they had to dub in afterwards, "Loser leaves the WWE," because they just forgot to say it on TV, apparently. Right, let's conclude with today's and finally, and great news, Maki Ito has now got t-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, prowrestlingtees.com/Maki Ito. I wanted to give a nod to her plugging of this. Some of it I can't say. I'll just conclude with her little sign-off line. "I love money. Pay me, bitch. prowrestlingtees.com/Maki Ito. Love her, Andy.
Tremendous. What did she call herself when Jim Cornette came for her earlier this year? Is it the God of Feces or something like that? Maki Ito's a legend. She's a total legend. She's got the personality. And she's got the matches now as well. She had a great weekend in Tokyo Joshi Pro this past weekend. Buy a Wrestle Universe subscription, man. It's really good. You, at home, if you're bored of the wrestling you're watching, check out some Tokyo Joshi Pro. Check out some DDT. You'll have a good time.
And get yourself a red Maki Ito simp tee right now at prowrestlingtees.com. Let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dudley Boys reviewing Monday Night Raw and looking ahead to NXT later on today as well. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWW. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. The H today stands for Hootia, or Hootia, which is a large Caribbean rat-like rodent. So there you go.
I tell you what, this has changed, hasn't it, since I've been away? We now got word of the day stuff with Andy Murray. Follow me at Adam Wilborn. There you can see my excellent wedding dancing. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. But for now, my thanks, Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.